Well, the financial sector has been called the blood supply of our economy. Yet, in the past 2 years, we've seen the unethical, if not illegal, actions of a few large investment banks usher in a crippling economic recession. A recent Pew survey shows that while the public is wary of big government, a clear majority of Americans favor strict regulation of major financial institutions, a move that some local bankers worry could trigger unintended consequences here at home. Today, only 25% of Americans say they have a positive view of the major banks here in the U.S., a troubling trend that Oklahoma community bankers say they want to change. In the 1946 movie It's a Wonderful Life, it was a small-town community banker played by Jimmy Stewart that kept the family-run savings and loan afloat while protecting his hometown from the greed of a larger banker.
Just remember this, Mr. Potter, that this rabble you're talking about, they do most of the working and paying and living and dying in this community. Well, is it too much to have them work and pay and live and die in a couple of decent rooms and a bath?
It's a story of sacrifice and commitment that resonates each Christmas season, and one that can be found in small towns across Oklahoma year-round. It's Veterans Day in the small Oklahoma town of Morrison, a time when residents gather to honor those that have served our country.
The reason why we have great men and women in uniform is because of towns like this and the honor and prestige that we hold those individuals in.
And as speaker after speaker take the podium, each has their own unique yet similar story.
This is what in the foxholes and the barracks behind the sandbags, these are the places that men and women who serve our great nation pine, that word was used too, to be.
A unifying love of home and the lessons learned here.
I'm so proud of you, Morrison, for recognizing the veterans who've paid the price for our freedom in blood, sweat, separation from their families, and with their lives. You are, and always will be, my hometown.
Well, small-town values are certainly not unique to this community in rural Payne County, and frankly, neither are the challenges. Across Oklahoma, main streets like the one behind me are struggling with changes in their economy. And while on the surface, Morrison may seem to fit those same criteria, like most successful small rural towns, here, the hometown banker is all about hometown.
We're about 650 population in Morrison proper. We have about 1,600 families that live in the rural areas. Their kids go to school here. The school is the largest employer in town, the bank's second largest employer in town.
Rick McSwain is the president and CEO of Citizen State Bank in Morrison, a community banker that believes his job is just as much about community building as it is banking.
Our theory is if we could bring young people back to Morrison, they could live here, have a good school system, kids go to school here, have the activities.
They could keep their town alive. So McSwain and others began to build, developing new neighborhoods to attract new neighbors.
It's hard to get a builder to come to a small town and build homes. So maybe we have to do that ourselves. Maybe we got to go out and hire that builder to come and build a home. The housing is our main tax base and has helped our evaluation for our school district. And our theory is, for instance, Rolling Hills, if we have 15 new houses out there and the average value is $200,000, that's $3 million that we just increased our tax base for our school district.
And it's the schools that McSwain believes are not only the heart of his community, but the attraction for many returning residents.
But the young people come back because they want their kids to go to school here too. We have a very strong athletic program, strong FFA and 4-H program, and in the academics. If you look at the number of kids that graduate from Morrison High School and go on to college, we would probably be one of the higher percentage schools in the state of Oklahoma.
You know, the school is the community.
Doug Will owns Morrison Grain. Graduating from Morrison schools, he chose to stay here in small-town Oklahoma because of what he believes his children can learn.
just like the lifestyle, like the agricultural setting to raise our kids in. You know, you learn a lot more than a lot more life lessons than you do in a larger city, I believe. You know, you learn to work at a young age and learn to manage things at a young age, and I think it's just a good place to raise kids.
We still are considered a farming community because we are rural.
An incentive that McSwain believes not only keeps residents here, but brings new ones to town.
And I tell small town bankers, I have a lot of good friends in small towns, and I've been in this business all my life. I tell them you've got to support your school, you've got to build homes, and maybe you've got to be the leading force to do that.
Well, your money's in Joe's house, that's right next to yours, and in the Kennedy house, and Mrs. Maitland's house, and 100 others. You're lending them the money to build, and then they're going to pay it back to you as best they can. Now, what are you going to do, foreclose on them?
And while institutions like McSwain's are vital to local economies, they're increasingly disappearing. Just 15 years ago, the 6 largest banks in the country had combined assets that accounted for roughly 17% of our country's gross domestic product. Today, those same large financial institutions control 63% of our nation's GDP.